Everybody, welcome to another interview from Community Heroes. I'm so happy that you decided to follow us for 2021. We have some great things in store for our supporters and our followers this year. Some great interviews, and of course, all of them are centered around our mission, which is to make aware of the special needs population and our concept of all inclusiveness. So, with that being said, I'm kind of excited today because I am a superhero fan. You know, if you've grown up and you've been that kid that wanted to be a superhero, Batman, Superman, whoever, you play your little games and everything. You're like, man, I would love to be this guy and that guy. So today, I had the opportunity. Well, as I was browsing, I found someone who has turned my childhood dream into almost kind of like a reality. So I want to present, without further ado, Mr. Jonathan Hendrick.
Hi, Tyrone. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. So, Jonathan, I'm not going to hold you long. I'm going to get right into it, man. My first thing I want to know is how was life for you growing up in your hometown?
Yeah, I grew up in an area of Florida that's called the Space Coast. So that's where NASA is. And I grew up with the space shuttle program still going off. And I was able to watch all those shuttle launches. And now I get to see all the current rocket launches. Been a real cool experience growing up in this area.
Yeah, I can imagine, someone like myself not being close to that. Only thing I can see is on TV, but
Right.
you can actually be like, man, you've seen something of a person like that.
Yep,
That's something you'll remember.
for sure.
Um, so you kind of touched on uh, a little bit about what I was going to jump into. I was going to ask about, your where you reside at now.
I live in the same county. I live in a city called Melbourne, Florida, which is west of Cocoa Beach, east of Orlando. So that area of Central Florida. I grew up in this area, and I did live in Tampa for a good portion of my 20s and 30s, sowing some wild oats while I lived over there. But I got pulled back in here where my family is, and it's a little slower pace of life, but I like it.
Yeah. I've only been to Florida once, and for those you don't know, I'm going to share a secret with you. Now, this is actually my second time talking to Jonathan. We had a mishap the first time, but he's a great guy. Was able to come back. But in the first one, I told him about my experience going to Florida. We went for a cruise and we got there, and I'm like, thank God we finally got to Florida. We drove, and then just to realize we still had 2 more hours to get to our destination.
Mhm.
So I'm like, man, I mean, Florida's long. But I wanted to share this quick story. Uh, Afterwards, it was part of our anniversary. We got back from our cruise and went to Orlando to SeaWorld. And like I said, I've never been there before. Now I always thought Goldsboro was hot, but it was hot, in March down there. And I never forget, my wife drops me off at this little cooling area, which wasn't really cool. And I'm down there, and she's parking the van, and then she comes back, and within that like 5 minutes, seemed like forever. I had pants on. Now, me, I don't know why I had pants on. She came back. I was like, we got to go back to the van, and I stripped in the parking lot and put shorts on and took my shirt off and just had the t-shirt on. I mean, I never sweat so much in 5 minutes of my life.
That's a good Floridian experience for you right there. That's every day of our lives down here.
I was like, man. So I wanted to share that experience. It's funny. But my next question is, what's your educational background?
Yeah, I began my education in the Army where I was trained to be a radiologic technologist. And then when I got out, I was able to transfer that experience and those credits to associate's degree in radiology. Few years after that, I went and got my bachelor's in health sciences. And then about 5 years ago, I finished a graduate school with an MBA.
Okay. So, my next question: uh, how many years of experience do you have in the comic content creator field?
Well, I've been writing and creating comic books for about 2 years now, but I've always been involved with comic books as a reader and a collector, um, more than just a casual fan. And I also have been a writer for all my life. I've just only recently decided to start writing in a comic book script format, whereas before I was just kind of writing things down in notebooks and composition books and never really taking it too seriously until about 2 years ago.
Okay, can you tell us about the series Capable?
Yeah, absolutely. Capable, I'd call it a superhero genre, ongoing comic book series that's about a world where people with disabilities randomly begin to gain superpowers that are opposite of what their handicap was. And the story follows the main character, Derek Davidson, who is a high schooler and happens to use a wheelchair. And then one morning he wakes up and finds out that he has the ability to run super fast. And then throughout the series, we see how he handles a world where some people aren't going to adapt well to these newfound powers.
Okay. Um, Now, as I was reading, because if you go to your Kickstarter page, you get the opportunity to kind of read a little bit. So I kind of already had a heads up about it before I reached out to you, which intrigued me even more. I wanted to know who, where was the inspiration all from you for the comic, or did you have collaborators that help with the inspiration? So that kind of that goes into this question of what was your inspiration to create this book?
Yeah, I really enjoy reading and writing what if stories, especially those that only change one element in our real world. And I was inspired by a lot of the common comic book tropes where a superhero usually has a mild manner alter ego, but I wanted to remove that aspect and make these characters be constantly be reminded of who they were before they changed into a superpowered human. So I've really done a lot of research and online, as well as talking to people in person who identify as someone with disabilities, and even my editor. She is someone with disabilities, and she kind of checks me in my writing to make sure that I'm not being inappropriate or being inaccurate. And this is a good representation without being pandering to any particular group as well.
Right, right. Um, okay, so um, my next that leads me to the next question. So as you create the character in the series and the end product, what do you hope your readers take away from the message that you're trying to convey?
Yeah, I think the message I hope that people might take away from Capable is that what we think might make our lives easier may not necessarily be a blessing, but it actually could be a curse. For instance, Derek, he really wanted to be on the track team, but he couldn't when he was in a wheelchair. So the coach let him be the manager of the track team, which made him, in essence, be part of the team, but still, he actually wanted to run on the team. Then, when he got his superpowers, he still can't be on the team because he would win every single competition and he could be potentially dangerous. So, the theme there is, now he's not just capable, he's super capable to a point where he still can't participate. So, I hope people walk away with the the common theme from Spider-Man, which is, with great power comes great responsibility, kind of borrowing that with this series as well. I think if superpowers were real, a lot of people may not know how to be responsible with them.
Yeah, and that right there, I think is a awesome message because, like you just said, there's so many uh, individuals in society that don't have per se superpowers, but they have the ability to
Mm-hmm.
do whatever they want, but they still really don't know how to utilize that privilege. Uh,
Exactly.
and I'll stop there because we're seeing it a lot now in the events that have happened. Um, so my next question would be, what are, in your opinion, what are like some milestones or goals that you had set out when you started in the field of being a content creator and that you hit and you kind of check them off?
Yeah. Well, in making comic books, especially in an independent self-publishing way, you really have to celebrate all the small wins. So, for instance, every time I get one of my books in my hand for the first time from my printer, I consider that a milestone. Um, and it takes just a lot of hard work and time to complete just a single issue. So, again, I really have to celebrate all those wins along the way. But besides those, I've had multiple successful Kickstarters since I started this a short time ago. I've also signed on by a couple publishers to print and distribute some of my work. So that's been a huge highlight of my comic book career so far.
Yeah, I definitely can relate to that. Testament has been, what Community Heroes being a nonprofit small business. We definitely try to congratulate each other
Mhm.
with every small, like you just said, small victory that we
Mhm.
get that pushes our mission. So
Yeah.
the my next question that I would like to ask is for uh, those who want to follow in your footsteps. What are some of the resources that you can say help you create this series and some of the other ones that you contributed to?
Yeah, when I was learning to write in the comic book script format, I checked out a lot of books on how to write comic books from the library. So I highly recommend everyone do that who might be interested in writing comic books. In addition to that, it's really important to build a network of other indie comic book creators because that's a really valuable resource there. So go on to social media, friend some people, and start conversations, join some Facebook groups because the questions and answers, the experiences that they can provide is truly priceless. Also support small businesses like your small, or I'm sorry, your local comic book stores. Because if they have your back, then and vice versa, it'll be a huge help in getting your comic book out there and to other readers. So yeah, do your research, um, network, and support local businesses.
Now, let me ask you this, Jonathan. And you said something that, again, even though we're doing two different things, but from a small business standpoint, with me, I remember when I was kind of putting together heroes and trying to figure out, who I wanted to ask to be on the board, who I wanted to ask to contribute to volunteer. Uh, I was kind of hesitant because I had this idea and like I said, my branding with the logo and things like that, and it took me a little bit to actually start trusting
Hmm.
other individuals to tell them my idea, uh, because I guess I hate to see you think someone's going to steal it, but you just don't want to get none of your ideas out. And then eventually got to the point where I realized there's a lot that I don't know, and I'm gonna have to ask
Hmm.
for help. So where I'm going, my question is, I know you just saying you should always reach out to others that have experience. And I was wondering, did you ever feel a hesitation, especially like you got this great idea of paper,
Hmm.
and and you're going out, you're like, hey man, I got this comic character,
Hmm.
what do you think about this? And they give you some feedback, but like 2 months later, you see they printed a character that was almost similar to yours. I don't know if you ever felt a
Yeah.
vibe like that. Like, I don't know if I want to do that. It might not be a good idea.
Well, the key is to don't give everything away, right?
Right,
I wouldn't provide my entire script, but maybe I would ask little nuggets of information. Uh, like instead of saying, "Hey, what do you all think about a superhero comic that's about the disabled community gaining superpowers?" You could twist that question and safely not give away your theme by saying, "What type of communities would you like to be represented in superhero comic books?" You know,
right.
and then if you start getting feedback, like because you're going to get a lot of things that you weren't really looking for, but you can gauge the audience response from that type of question.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. I think that's great that you shared that, because I'm pretty sure I'm not probably the only one that had felt that way about trying to start a business, or you got this great idea and
Mhm.
stuff. So I was just curious. I'm glad I know I wasn't the only one that felt that way.
Good
Um,
question. It's a good question. Yeah.
my next question is, our listeners that will see this, where can they connect with you online?
Yep. I'm on the three major social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find me, Jonathan Hedrick. I'm sure you'll have it spelled for the video. And also follow me on Kickstarter if you're familiar with that platform. That way you'll be updated on when a new project by me goes live.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, whenever this goes up on YouTube, we'll make sure that we'll have your handles for
Great.
those platforms to make it easy also for
Hmm.
viewers. And my last question is, what viewers that are interested in your comic books and any of your other projects, what are some ways they can continue to support you and your business?
Yeah, in addition to following me on social media and Kickstarter, liking and sharing my posts, commenting on posts, that goes a long way when it comes to supporting on social media. And then tell your local comic book stores about my work. Bring them in, show them screenshots or whatever that you may have seen, and give them my contact information from social media. And they might be able to reach out to me so I can carry my comic books in their stores as well.
Okay. Well, Jonathan, again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day
Yeah,
to join us again.
my
Uh,
pleasure. Yeah.
Anytime you would like to hop on our platform to maybe be a guest speaker for something else or
Mm.
anything, you can always reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to work with you again.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So that's it, everybody. Continue to support our videos, go on our platforms, and again, we will see you at the next interview.